Kwe, which is hello in Mi'kmaq. My name is Alanna Syliboy, and I'm part of the Bear Clan. I'm a descendant from 2 residential school survivors. I'm from the band of Sipekne'katik First Nations in Nova Scotia. Sipekne'katik means land of the wild potato in Mi'kmaq, and I work for the Confederacy of Mainland Mi'kmaq, and I work for the Department of Environment and Natural Resources. I'm the community liaison officer for that department, and I do a lot of work in the communities and just bridging the gap between the scientific knowledge and the traditional knowledge, so that the work that we're doing is better for both scientific-wise and community-wise. My culture to me is very important because of the residential school. It was lost. My mom unfortunately had no sense of her culture whatsoever, but my dad was very lucky for part-time going to residential school, so he was able to learn a lot of our culture through his parents. My grandmother was a Mi'kmaq teacher. She taught the language to community members and in schools, and my dad had learned all of his ways through his parents. So, and then in turn he's teaching me, because I didn't have that opportunity growing up in school, because we were shipped off our reserve to go to school, so our culture was not very present growing up. So to me it's very important that all the teachings that my father is teaching me, because I can in turn teach that to my children and keep it going, hopefully for the 7 generations to follow. We do practices like smudging and attend powwows and ceremonies, and the language as well. I'm learning some language through my dad, and through the work that I do with CMM. I've been learning species of fish and stuff like that through the work that I'm doing, because I want to take that and bring it back to the communities and the outreach work that we do. So my culture is a very important aspect through everything, and I've also been learning cultural and traditional knowledge through the workshops that I host and the work that I do by talking to other community members and other elders. Just knowing that I have that responsibility to teach 7 generations ahead of me, because the 7 generations before me had that. It's kind of embedded in you, and I like to know that my people are taken care of, and that they are getting the best quality out of life through the work that I do. And it drives me because I do a lot of it for my children. I want to make them proud, and I want to make them proud of who they are and where they came from. One of the biggest challenges is I'm not a scientist or a biologist, and losing my culture from growing up. So I'm constantly learning. It's not a bad thing, but it sometimes is a roadblock to bridging those gaps, because I need to learn the scientific stuff about everything, and then I have to learn that cultural significance and that traditional knowledge, and finding ways to put those together. And so I'm learning myself while I'm teaching, and I think it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. Keeps me busy, keeps me grounded and focused, and I appreciate both sides of that. So we have a lot of researchers and biologists and scientists within our organization, and they do a lot of scientific terms, and they sometimes use sentences or words that the community members don't understand. So it's my job to help the communities understand so we get the best information we can from both sides. So, and then we have on the traditional side and the cultural side, sometimes we have language barriers because sometimes people only speak Mi'kmaq, or they're reluctant to speak to non-First Nations people. So it's very important for my role to make sure that the community members know that it's okay, that we're doing this for the betterment of our people and our lands and our waters. And it's helpful to our organization, so they can gain that knowledge and use that past knowledge and experience to get the land and the waterways back to the way they were when life was simpler and cleaner and everything was more abundant. At the Mi'kmaq Conservation Group, we have a saying. It's called Nedukalunk, and it means take only what you need and leave some for tomorrow. We use this to guide our work, to guide the work that we do. We use it for every project, and it's one of our mission statements. And we also have two-eyed seeing, which is taking the Western science and knowledge and combining it with the Aboriginal traditional knowledge and making sure that we see our projects and the outcome of our projects in both eyes, so we come together and get the best results for our programs. Knowing that we're all in this together, we're all doing it for the one purpose of bettering our environment and bettering our people and our communities, because we are stronger together. I think it fits in every aspect, because with the climate change and the waterways and the land use, if we're not using these things properly, the earth will self-destruct, and if we're not doing the proper measurements for it, then we're not going to be ready. And I think that doing the type of work like this and knowing that there's many different ways that you can tackle things, it helps our people. The role of youth is very important, because they're our future. They're the ones that have to live on this earth once we're gone, right? And if we don't teach them and guide them, then we failed as parents or elders or knowledge holders, because if we can't teach the youth and the youth aren't involved, then they won't know what to do, and then their youth. So I think it's very important for the youth to be involved and to have a voice in this type of work, so that they know and they're aware of what's going on.